What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Weekends with Yam. These are the episodes where I put them out on Saturday and Sundays and kind of just sit around, chat with you guys for a little bit, talk shop about motorcycles, motorcycle culture, all that sort of stuff. The title of today's video is why I don't do group rides. So this might be a little controversial, and I will get into it today, and we're gonna talk about it a lot, so please stick around to see this video and understand where I'm coming from. But I really don't do group rides. It's not something that is common for me to do. The only kind of group riding I really do is, honestly, when we go out to shoot videos, there's usually Spide or Josh or Whitney or someone is with me riding. But beyond that, I don't really ride in a group. The only other times I ride in a group is on track or during a race or something like that. But for me, riding is a very solo activity. And I'm gonna guess that for a lot of you, it's the same way too. So if you ride solo, let me know down in the comments below of why you ride solo or why you ride in a group. There's lots of pros and cons to both riding solo and in a group, and I wanted to talk about it today, so let's get into it. Before we begin, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button on this channel if you love everything about motorcycles, if you're getting into them, if you like talking about motorcycle culture, lifestyle, all kinds of different bikes too. We feature everything here on the Yammie Noob channel, from cruisers to sport bikes, off-road, adventure, anything and everything in between. We give away motorcycles too, so hit the link down below to yammie-noob.co, check out how you can enter to win for those, and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. So the idea for today's video actually started with a podcast I was listening to from Revzilla, their High Side, Low Side podcast. And it was towards the back half of one of the episodes where Spurgeon Dunbar and Zach Hortz were talking about group riding. And Zach was saying that he doesn't really like doing group rides unless he really knows the person super well. And Spurgeon was saying that normally he rides in a very tight-knit group, but sometimes he'll let other people join in on his group. And Zach thought that was a little weird as a back and forth on group riding. And I thought, well, let me chime in on my own experiences with group riding and what I think about it. So in the past, I used to ride with a group here in Austin. I rode with a couple groups up in Dallas, so I have some experience riding in groups. And to be honest, the type of rider I was back then, something happens in group riding, at least in the groups that I was in, to where the testosterone rises a little bit, the risk-taking rises a little bit, and people tend to kind of override a little bit on group rides. There was a point where basically on every group ride I was going, on a big group ride anyways, somebody would go down, something would happen, somebody would get hurt. And I'm not saying that every group ride is like that, but for me in the groups that I was with at the time, it seemed like that kept happening. So I already started getting a little skeezed out from group riding starting from there. Beyond that, my riding has kind of evolved over the years in that a lot of the street riding that I do nowadays is mainly filming for Yammie Noob. I don't really ride on the street for personal reasons that often anymore. Most of my riding is done on track or on trails or off-road, and every once in a while I'll take out my desert sled on a solo ride to just kind of cleanse my senses and have a good time on my motorcycle. For me, riding is a very intimate and personal activity, a very solo-based activity. I like being by myself when I ride. I don't really want to interact a lot with people. I don't really want to chat with people. It is my time to kind of get away from everything, get away from our screens, get away from the phones, just unwind and be on the machine. That's what's really important for me. And for me nowadays, public group rides probably are going to be more of a liability than anything else because, you know, for better or for worse, there is a bit of a star factor when it comes to riding with a YouTuber or something like that. And people tend to take risks that they wouldn't normally take if they were just riding by themselves or in a regular group. I've seen this a lot. I saw it out in Tucson when I went last year for a Triumph North America press day or whatever. I had a bunch of YouTubers and influencers and Instagrammers come out. I was out there too. And at the end of the day, I felt really frustrated. I felt really drained and tired. I didn't know people's skill sets and where they were at whenever they were near me. I just didn't like the vibe. Personally, for me, if I were to do a group ride, I probably would maybe only bring along 2 or 3 people with me. I definitely do not like, 20 people group rides. I think things tend to get really, really messy at that point. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm not a big fan of huge stunt rides either. I don't think it really is conducive to public safety to have 100 people on the highway doing wheelies. That's not really my scene. But if you do that, more power to you. I'm not gonna try to stop you. I'm not some sort of law enforcement or anything like that, but I'm just letting you guys know that for me, it's not really something that I like to do. So the thing I like doing nowadays, and something I wanna do more of, especially after we get more vaccinations for coronavirus and it's more safe for people to meet publicly, is I love doing meet and greets. So I did this in Tucson last year as well with Dan the Fireman. We set up at a public location and had a bunch of people show up, and it's way more fun to be off the bike and talking to people about motorcycles than it is to be riding together. I preferred way more than just group riding. I like meeting in person and talking to people. And it was a lot of fun being in Tucson and just hanging out with everybody, talking about their bikes, talking about their experiences, goofing around, having some fun. And then we all go home in our separate ways. I think that makes a lot more sense than to bring everybody together and do a gigantic group ride. I don't really love doing that as much. But I want to say, for a lot of people, group riding is a very positive and good thing. For example, Spite has the complete polar opposite opinion to me when it comes to group riding. He has a local group here in Austin, a very tight-knit group. I think they're about 12 or 15 people. They go out on a big ride, catch up, have fun, do everything like that, and he really seems to enjoy it. It's not really my preferred activity when it comes to motorcycling, but that doesn't mean it can't be for you. Group riding is also a great way to meet other motorcyclists as well. A lot of my first riding buddies that I met by doing group rides. I'd go to local meetups, I'd go to places, I'd hang out with people, I'd meet new people, and go on the ride. For me nowadays, I think that it doesn't make as much sense for me to do that, but if you're a new rider, I would definitely encourage you to go out to like a bike night or something like that, just hang out with people, get in the know of motorcycling, and start your journey there a little bit. But the big thing for me with group riding, like I mentioned, is just there's no way for me to ascertain someone's skill set when it comes to riding or their level of risk. I don't really want to be pulling away from a stop sign and have someone right next to me that I don't know very well just pulling a wheelie or doing something dumb, because I don't know if they are capable of doing such a thing, or they might get themselves hurt, and then I have to be on the side of the road with them waiting for an ambulance to come or something like that, and that's not really fun for anybody. So if you are thinking about doing a group ride, I would say get the vibe of the group first. Usually on, popular social media and stuff like that, the groups will definitely either post what they're kind of about, what kind of riding they do. If you're gonna join a sport bike riders group and you see everybody showing up in full leathers or something like that, those guys are probably a bunch of street Rossis and they're gonna probably try to go really fast. If you show up to a group ride and you see a cool mix of a bunch of different riders and everyone seems really inclusive and really cool about all kinds of different makes and models of motorcycles, it probably is a much more chill vibe. If you show up to a big cruiser meetup, you probably expect it to be a more chill cruisery kind of meetup as well. So, the types of people and the types of bikes that show up to group rides is definitely very important as well. It can be a super positive thing for motorcycling. I mean, I kind of view our Discord server as a bike night that never ends, basically, because it's people just talking shop about bikes and having fun, and that to me is what's cool about the community of motorcycling, not so much group riding itself. So for you guys out there getting interested in group riding, definitely get a feel for the group that you want to go ride with, and do your research before you show up. It's going to be really important for you to not show up as a super green beginner rider to a very dedicated hardcore street Rossi kind of meetup. That's probably not going to be a great environment for you to be in, because you're going to probably outride your own skill sets. But with all that being said, what do you guys think about group rides below? Do you do them yourself or do you ride solo? I'd love to hear from you. And of course, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you leaving me comments and starting this discussion about these motorcycling topics. We'll catch you on the next one. See you later. Bummer for you, my little squid. This video is actually over, but lucky for you, there's plenty of other Yammie videos you can check out right over here. What's gonna happen to them? I don't know. I haven't seen them, but you can watch them right now.